What's up, maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are discussing Smackdown. We had a really good show with some excellent wrestling, and there was a very creepy and mysterious way in which the show ended. And we are going to jump straight into it after the intro, so make sure you stay tuned. Right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that is WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into the review. So we're going to jump straight to the main event segment, and in the main event we had Bayley taking on Nikki Cross for the Women's Championship, the Smackdown Women's Championship. And again, a really terrific match. These guys put on a match, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, at Extreme Rules, where Bayley used Sasha Banks' rings, her boss rings or legit boss rings, and hit Nikki Cross in the stomach, bruising her ribs and getting the win. That exact same spot was to happen again in this match, but Bayley couldn't pull it off, so it didn't come to fruition. But other than that, this was a really interesting match with both really good competitors. Nikki super intense. The sequence to end the match was really special, where Bayley really looked like she was completely out of it, and Nikki tried to get her with a series of roll-ups and things like that. Nothing really worked out. Bayley planted Nikki Cross into the canvas. 1, 2, 3. Bayley retains the Women's Championship. So as Bayley and Sasha are walking back up the ramp in celebratory mood, you know, the little Smackdown logos come on at the bottom of the screen and you think the broadcast is done. Nikki Cross is just in the ring on her knee, unhappy of course. Alexa Bliss comes into the ring to console her friend. Nikki Cross isn't really trying to hear it. She's shrugging her off and she's like, no, leave me alone, Alexa. Alexa's like, you know, look, I know you're not angry at me sort of thing, but I'm sorry, let's get up and go. Nikki's like, no, leave me alone, I want to be alone, Alexa. And then Nikki Cross eventually gets up, two hands, pushes Alexa Bliss, she falls onto her bum, and Nikki Cross rolls out the ring and walks up the ramp alone. Camera pans over to Alexa Bliss and she's just thinking, oh, you know, it didn't have to go this far sort of thing. I understand you're annoyed, but I was only trying to help. She's got that kind of expression on her face. Before you know it, the studio lights start going out one by one with the special sound effects. You know what's coming next. The Fiend. The Fiend's music hits. He's behind Alexa in the ring. Now, someone asking, what does the Fiend actually want with Alexa Bliss? Earlier on in the show, we had a segment of Firefly Funhouse where Bray Wyatt did say, until the Fiend gets his match with Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship, everyone will pay. Clearly starting with Alexa Bliss, who we all know from the Swamp match. Alexa Bliss has played, you know, kind of a part in Braun Strowman's story, at least. Fond character of Braun Strowman. He's had a little fling, or he's got near to a fling with Alexa Bliss. And even in the Swamp match, Alexa Bliss played a part of what people thought was like a Sister Abigail kind of character, but it was just a way to kind of make Braun Strowman lose his focus in the Swamp match. So clearly this is why the Fiend has targeted Alexa Bliss. Maybe that's gonna make Braun Strowman kind of, yeah, you know, leave her alone, we can have this match sort of thing, and maybe that's where the Fiend is going with it. I think Nikki Cross kind of turning on Alexa Bliss might be the end of that friendship, that relationship. It probably has stretched for longer than we all thought. I think we all thought that Alexa Bliss was going to turn on Nikki Cross much sooner than this whole thing has lasted. So that may be the end of that, and maybe this might be Alexa Bliss taking up her place as Sister Abigail. It's funny because I know there has been several characters that have been mentioned as this Sister Abigail. We've heard at some points even Nikki Cross might have been a good Sister Abigail. Liv Morgan, when she lost a bit of direction, would have been a Sister Abigail character. Maybe it's Alexa Bliss at this point. I don't know. If you guys think that Alexa Bliss is going to take up this Sister Abigail character, put your comments down below and let me know. Or let me know if you think it could be anybody else. But I do think there may be more to Alexa Bliss just getting mandible clawed, attacked by the Fiend. And I do think there might be a bigger part for her to play in this story, or at least in Bray Wyatt the Fiend story. I guess we'll have to wait and see. To start the show, we had the Intercontinental Championship on the line. Gran Metalik took on AJ Styles. This was a really good match, a great showcase for Gran Metalik, and it's about time he has this showcase. There was a lot of talk about him when he first joined WWE, and Yes, he fell into 205 Live, he fell into a tag team, but he really is a good wrestler and showed some of what he can do. Throughout the match, we had AJ Styles working the leg of Grand Metalik, which often made it hard for him to do his high-flying moves. Obviously, he is the king of the ropes, so it was smart tactics for AJ to work that leg, and in the end, AJ Styles retained using the calf crusher submission. Backstage, we had Shorty G watching the Intercontinental Championship match, and King Corbin came across to get in his ear to start talking about the King's Ransom and how Shorty G should be someone fighting for the Intercontinental Championship, and maybe the beginning of him starting to take his opportunities could be taking out Matt Riddle for the King's Ransom. Got in Shorty G's ear a bit, started gassing him up. Shorty G was a bit cautious because those two have had their own history, but he definitely listened to what King Corbin had to say. King Corbin then had a match with Drew Gulak, and I was really hoping Drew Gulak could win. I do think he needs a bit of a push higher up the card, definitely getting back at least into fighting for the Intercontinental Championship, but King Corbin got the win here with an end of days, despite Matt Riddle coming out halfway to try and cause a bit of a distraction. After the match, when King Corbin did win though, Matt Riddle ran into the ring, started laying a beating on King Corbin, and who came to King Corbin's rescue? Chad Gable, Shorty G. He came out to effectively claim this King's Ransom. So Shorty G laid out Matt Riddle, but I'm not sure, is this it? I did think the King's Ransom thing was going to go on for a bit longer, maybe a few weeks, but it looks like Shorty G has claimed this King's Ransom. He even done the little money sign towards King Corbin. They both smiled and left the ring together. So interesting. I guess we're going to see in the next couple of weeks how that comes together, but Chad Gable, Shorty G versus Matt Riddle is going to be a great match whenever that happens.